All right. And what's up, solos, my entrepreneurs, my creative entrepreneurs, my aspiring entrepreneurs, whomever is here and then tuning in, I want to give a thank you for joining me today for the Small Business Dream Framework. Today, we are talking about how to get people to pay you. Okay, so obviously in our small business and for any business, even if it's a medium-sized business or a large business, what makes a business is the fact that you're able to generate income and revenue from solving someone's problem. So what that means is that you have what's called a offer, right? So you have an offer, you have multiple offers, it's a product or it's a service. Either way, there is someone that is willing to pay you for it. However, unless your product or service is super unique, or unless you have a very particular avenue in which you are generating leads for income on a consistent basis so that your business is able to scale, then you're going to need quite a few things. Okay. So there are three steps altogether that we're going to talk about today that's going to help people to automatically just give you their money. We have to do two important steps first before the third. I'm going to give you the third right now because it's very easy. The third is you have to be able to make an offer. That's it. We know that. We've talked about that. You create a product or you have a service, you need to have an offer no matter if you're in a physical building, if you just have online presence, you need to have an offer. But there are two steps that many solopreneurs and entrepreneurs make prior to getting to the third step. And we're going to talk about those two today. So I want you to be super successful. I want you to convert a lot of clients and have a lot of sales. Okay. So once again, I just want to give a quick thank you for joining the webinar. And if you're streaming this on YouTube, I want you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel for me, please. That lets me know that you appreciate this kind of content and it helps the channel to grow so that others who are looking for content that's similar, they can find it in their algorithm because you subscribed and because you like the content. So give it a thumbs up. If you hear me dropping some gems, it's going to be helpful for you. Finally, share it with another entrepreneur. If you have another partner who's also in business, you want to go ahead and click the share button for me, please, and thank you. And then finally, if you're looking to host a webinar as well or a live event that you can broadcast and stream on multiple platforms, I absolutely love StreamYard. It is super user-friendly and easy to use and very simple to onboard, especially if you're bringing on other guests. Today, I'm by myself, obviously, but you may have a partner or some guests that you want to bring along for the ride as well. So if you're looking for a platform in order to do this on StreamYard, is absolutely great. Here we go. I have a discount code for you that's going to be inside of the chat if you are joining me on the StreamYard platform. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. And then additionally, too, you'll have it there down in your description box down below if you're watching from YouTube. All right. So let's get moving and grooving. Yeah, that's what we're here for. Let's talk about how to get people to pay you. That's the most important part of the conversation, right? Even though this is a part of it, what we're doing right here is a part of the process. Okay. And it could be a part of your process too. But we want to talk about the three steps. So we're going to go ahead and actually identify which part of our framework that we're working in, right? So every week that we come back and have a conversation, we are openly and consistently using the word framework. Every time you have an offer, something to sell to someone else, or you have an idea, even just the idea, maybe you didn't even start to sell it yet. Okay. You need to create a frame around it and a system. Okay. And this system you create around all of your offers. So not always does one framework suffice for one offer. So you want to be prepared and ready for all kinds of frameworks. Okay, so let's talk about Content. Now, we've been having this conversation around content for a little while. Sorry, I know sometimes there's a little bit of a glare. Give me 2 seconds. I gotta fix this glare for you. Because I care that you can see it. Hopefully that's better. Yeah. Okay, great. Content, right? So we've been having this conversation around content every single week. We have our offers, we have our leads, we have content, and then we have systems. That is our framework. Today we're focused on content because it is the number one thing that is missing in many people's many entrepreneurs business as they are in their early stage growth and sometimes even in the middle stage growth of operating a business. So you have a product and a service and you're able to offer it to people. Maybe you have consistent leads coming in. Even with consistent leads and conversions and sales, you're still missing out on the opportunity to convert more without this one to many approach. So content gives you a one to many approach compared to a one-to-one approach. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the differences of both and do we need both? That's a great question. How do you know where your business falls in line? Do you want a one-to-many approach or would you like solely a one-to-one approach or maybe do you need both, right? So great question if that came up for you already. If not, we're going to talk about it in a little bit today. But I want you to understand that content is a one-to-many approach. How is content a one-to-many approach? Content is a one-to-many approach because wherever you post your content, wherever you send your content, however you have people opt into your content, maybe they actually download it, right? Maybe you have books to purchase, like an ebook would be a product offer, right? And so once they actually purchase and buy your ebook, they have to download it or upload it onto a platform in order for them to read it. Okay, perfect. Now, what you want to ensure is that you have an opportunity to produce content in one shot, okay, and speak to many people across the board. And that's what content does for us when we are posting and publishing, especially on these virtual platforms. We are taking up digital real estate when we are posting multiple pieces of content, just like this one. So aside from hosting this and streaming this on StreamYard, I'm also broadcasting it through YouTube where it will live beyond this conversation so that people can come back to and watch this later on. You can come back and watch it later on and pick up some more gems, right? And then you know what? Sometimes things change. So we get to look at historical differences and facts or the way of doing things and being able to adjust and keep up with the times. Nonetheless, content is the way that we get our leads to do one particular thing before there are customers, right? Because there's a process that happens. There are steps to people actually being able to say, okay, I want to give this person my money, right? So we're going to talk about that first step within content. Because you understand and know that you need content. I tell you this every week. So step one is to understand that people are paying you with something way before they're paying you with cash. People are paying you already with something way before they're paying you with cash. And when you include content into your framework, the very first thing that people pay you with is they pay with their people pay with their attention. That's what they pay with first, especially when you incorporate content into your framework. You see, there's not many successful businesses that have scaled without some sort of marketing and advertisement, right? And why content is so great, especially being able to post and publish content on a platform such as YouTube, that's an open source platform where everyone can come and get information where anyone could come and get a solution, is so that they can begin to pay with attention, which for most business owners or for most people, especially when they have an offer to make, is that we're worried about giving away something for free, giving away too much for free, if we are putting our information inside of content, right? And I just want to remind you that there's a very particular way to do this, but it's important that you are delivering content to your leads prior to, right? Because this is like your commercial. So if we think about successful businesses that has scaled over time, there was the radio, and then there was a TV, and now we're in a digital age where we have laptops and cell phones, and we're constantly being advertised to about something, whether that person is saying it's for sale or not, whether they're entrepreneur or not. We're constantly being marketed to in some sort of frame or fashion. And so, with you as an entrepreneur, you want to do the same thing. We want to take advantage of this opportunity to do so. You know, one thing I keep saying to people is that we'll make the mistake to think that YouTube will always be free or it'll always have this same setup the way that it does right now. And we don't know that, right? Like, look how much Netflix has grown and it's changed so many times. And every time there was a change, there was also a price change, right? Because everything comes at a cost. So I urge you that you are getting ahead of your content, that you are preparing to launch your channel, that you are already posting, or that you are reaching out for help, that you have a mentor or an accountability coach that's going to say, hey, did you create a post for this week? You have to get one up, right? At least one to talk about your product or your service, right? And it doesn't mean that you have to give away everything either. You just need people to start to pay you a little bit, right? So you want to pay people with and ask them, you want to ask people for their attention so that they can pay you with it. So for me, for example, aside from doing these webinars and talking about business all day, I'm a fitness instructor. I give away free information all day long anyway. People come and they ask me about how to lose weight, how to gain weight, about the nutrition, about their workouts. And I'll give them the information that they're asking about. And some people would say, well, why would you do that? You can just package that and sell it. And absolutely, you're right. I can't just package it and sell it. I actually don't even have the capacity to give away all of the information in one conversation anyway, right? I can give you some of the conversation. And then on top of that, I could say, hey, I actually have something that'll solve your problem if you'd like to buy it. I would still tell them about the product or service way before I would ask them to pay for it anyway. Content online doesn't change. Even when we're face to face, we still need people to pay attention to what we're saying. And we also need to pay attention to what they're asking for so that we can make sure that we're offering the right product or the right service. So, as a fitness instructor who creates content, now someone who's looking to lose weight, I might do a lot of the exercises and the moves that is inside of their program to do as well that they'd pay for free online. Now they can either opt in to go to my Instagram handle, Built by Community, and look at a bunch of 4 exercises in a frame that I've done and do that 3 to 5 times for up to 20 minutes in a workout. There's 20-minute workouts already on my Instagram handle. Okay. But that doesn't stop the person who wants to have a conversation with a life coach. That doesn't stop the person who wants a 90-day program so that they can really see a transformation or reach the payoff in their results. That doesn't stop the person who needs guidance from still reaching out to say, hey, do you have something else to offer? But what it does do is create an open gateway for the person who won't pay me anyway, because maybe they don't have the funds. You got to think about your customers. You got to think about your dream client in advance, right? And even the fact that maybe they need to do more to just pay you with their attention, right? Because there's a whole other process that comes with purchasing something psychologically, y'all, before we do anything, we need to be moved emotionally, right? So, someone who really needs to lose weight and they've been confused and didn't know where to go, and they see a fitness instructor and maybe even a body type that they might want to get close to, or at least believes that person can help them get to where they want to go, right? Because you can see it physically, and then they'll come over and actually initiate and start to have a conversation, right? So they're going to give me their attention because they already have a need and they believe I have the solution. Now they just need to confirm that. So the first thing that they'll do is they'll pay attention to what I'm delivering and saying to them. And dependent upon the product or the service that I have to offer them, they are very open to that solution. Okay, because we had the conversation where they were able to first pay with attention. Not, hey, I can't tell you anything until you buy this first. They don't know if it's going to work or not, or they don't know if it works for them. They don't know if I know what I'm talking about or if I actually am credible, right? What if it was just the genes? What if I didn't work on myself all the time to get this far, huh? Okay, so as a fitness instructor in my business, I still get people to pay attention first. When they ask a question, I'm asking them questions as well so that I can get a fond understanding of what their problem is and then show them that I know how to solve it, or to at least show interest in being able to help them to make steps towards it. Because again, it's not always about the sale, it's actually about helping the person, right? I hope it is for you. So first, we get them to pay attention. And with content, that's the easiest way to do it, because the example that I just gave you is a one-to-one approach. A person sees me, they approach me, I see a person, I approach them, we have a conversation. That's a one-to-one approach. We are talking about a one-to-many approach, which is content. When you post content and you see that you have a number of views on your content, that is a one to many approach. There is a probability or possibility of you converting a lead who is watching your content because you got them to pay attention from the content to actually opt into the product or the service because they had a chance to spend time with you, right? And that leads us into our next step. Not this one. Yikes. Okay. Then we want to get people to pay with their. Then we want to get people to pay with their trust. Okay, so I'm saying, yeah, you need to post and publish content. That's fair, right? But obviously, that doesn't necessarily mean that anybody's going to see your content first and foremost. And it surely doesn't mean that they're going to stay and watch it nor trust you. Okay, there are steps to this process too, because you need to at least be good at creating content. You don't have to be the best, you don't have to make it your full time job, but this is one of your departments. Marketing and advertising is one of your departments in your business, whether you're working it or not. Okay. So, the same way, if you had a business, a brick and mortar, and you had employees and that employee quit or got fired or whatever the case may be, and that seat is open, that seat stays open until you get it filled. It doesn't matter what level it is. You have this department inside of your business already. Now, if you have the opportunity to get into the driver's seat, I'd highly recommend that you do that. One piece of content per week. That could be a short, a reel, a long form video, a story, or live. Doesn't matter what you choose. That could also be written content. I always forget blogs because I don't blog as much, which I want to do more, especially for places like LinkedIn. So, for all of my writers out there, or if you're at least good at writing and editing, journaling, consider blogging about your products and services discreetly. We're going to talk more about what I mean in a second. Okay. So, you need to create one piece of content each week in order for your leads to begin to pay you with their trust. So once you got my attention, let's say you create a piece of content, and that's cool. I think this is great content so far. So I'm going to continue to watch. Okay. the longer that I'm watching this piece of content, or if I click off of this content and I go into another piece of your content to see what else you offer, maybe there's a part two or part three to the original conversation you're talking about, or maybe your other content is relevant to some of the things that's important to me. Maybe, just maybe, this piece of content that your viewer is watching, that your audience is tapped into, is their solution. And you talking about the way it works, you're talking about why it works, you're talking about who's been transformed or impacted by this already. You're giving backstory, you're giving knowledge, education, right? You're entertaining. Whatever your style is in delivery is up to you. But nonetheless, when it finally hits someone, they're going to tap in and they're going to pay you with their trust because they can be emotionally moved right through the content, right? We talk about the reasons why anyone does anything is because they want to. There needs to be a feeling that's generated that says, okay, I want to do this thing now, and then it's done. Okay. Nobody does things that they don't want to. I mean, we do things that we don't want to, but if we had the option not to, right? Such as buying something like a product or a service, unless it was absolute life or death, right? We are not going to be moved to buy it. And even then, sometimes people still wait. Again, as a fitness instructor, a lot of times I get leads that come in and they say, yeah, I'm finally ready to work out because my doctor gave me a diagnosis that I'm borderline diabetic. Okay. And these are questions that I'm asking as a part of assessment. Did you notice any time before then, if you were overweight or not feeling well or not eating well or needed some help? And it's like, yeah, I've always been wanting to go to the gym. I just didn't make any time. I've always wanted to get a personal trainer. I just didn't make any time. Right? I've always wanted to get a personal trainer, but I didn't have the money. Right? So it's like they knew beforehand, right? Didn't just wake up and was like that the next morning, but even though there were time constraints, financial constraints beforehand, once they got the diagnosis, there were no more constraints. The barriers are down because there was something that happened emotionally and physiologically inside of the body from hearing that information at the doctor's office, which made them take action. This happens so frequently in the health industry in terms of how we convert clients from being leads into paying members. Okay. The emotional sense happened in the doctor's office. It happened when they had the conversation with their family at home about the diagnosis or the prognosis at the doctor's office. And then it happens again when they're sitting down and speaking with me. Okay. So they're already bought in. The doctor got their attention, right? And now they sought out someone who they believe that can help them. But before they make a decision on if I'm the right person, if I'm the right coach for them, they need to first trust that I can help them reach the transformation, receive the payoff, or get to their main goal. So they begin to pay with trust. I say all this to say that this is why I already create content with some of this, with some of my services. I already create content that gives it to them. So I can write out a workout plan, or I could talk about nutrition, right? And I have the option to make you pay for it, but also you can just go and watch it for free because of the same reasons that I've mentioned already, right? We need different gateways to the business. We need to give people different ways to access us. And we don't want all clients to opt in and do the same thing, right? Like I can't personally train 100 clients each week. Okay. In real life, person to person, but I can sell a 90-day program to 100 people who have the common interest of losing up to 20 pounds, right? That I can do. So I have multiple offers. You can either opt in and create your own workout plan or follow along with the videos that I've already posted for you. You can even get more educated so that you can understand how to work with your own body and your own plan and build your own routine. Or you could say, you know what, I still need a little bit more help. Can we set up a discovery call and see if we can work together one on one? Right? So there's many gateways. And the gateways, y'all, that actually helps to build the trust. When you have more than one way that people can access you and your business, that actually helps them to gain trust. Right off of the bat, if I feel like you're trying to sell me something, I don't want to do it. I don't know about for anybody else, but if you're in New York, this has happened to you, so you'll know what I'm talking about. I don't know how frequently this happens in other spaces, but um so in New York we walk a lot, right? We don't have to drive everywhere. In New York City, we walk a lot. And you know those tables, like you're walking down a block and in within your line of vision, you can see a table with a tablecloth on it and a sign and possibly has a banner on the tablecloth. They got these papers aligned on the table, or they even have a a big poster with some information on it. You can get and you see two representatives and they're trying to get people's attention. You can guarantee that when you pass that table, they're going to try to get your attention. And the first thought process that comes up is what? They want to sell you something, right? They're going to try and sell me something. So, hi, Deborah. I'm sorry, I just saw your comments. I'm so glad that I'm tapping in here. Appreciate you. Continue to leave comments too, or ask questions when you're in the room if you have any. Appreciate you. All right. So now those tables, you can make a decision, a split decision, if you're going to pass it, talk to the representatives that's there. If you're gonna pass it up altogether and ignore them, act like you didn't even see them, or if you're just gonna shake your head no while you're walking past. Like there's so many decisions to happen there, and many times they don't have a large crowd around them, especially without the product there. If they're even selling products, if they don't have product to sell, you're not gonna see many people stopping at the table at once, unless it's some really big news that impacts a lot of people. But many times these are charities, right? These are organizations that they're talking to you, yes, to inform you about the organization, but you already know that they're going to ask you for a donation. Okay. They're going to ask you, they don't, many of these spaces don't take cash and money anymore. Like they're going to ask you to leave a credit card or a debit card on file to continue this purchase, right? Or to make this donation. So you know in advance. This is the way that your audience is looking at this is the way your audience is looking at you as well. Your business, especially when they see you or a representative of your business. They want to sell me something. Now, that is exactly why we don't want to run or lead the conversation with the product or the service. We want to find out more about our dream client. We want to understand their problem. We want to identify if our product or service would actually work for them, right? We're not going to sell them something that we actually don't have or can't do. That's not a good idea. We want to make sure that it feels like a good fit for us to take on as a client before we do, right? Like clients need to match. It's not all about the money. Trust me, it's not. You can work with someone and they could pay you a lot of money and it is not the right fit. You are not aligned together in your morals, your values, nor your mission. I've been there, so take it from me. So we want to provide multiple pathways. So saying, okay, well, I hear you. You said that you want to lose up to 10 pounds by the summertime. That's amazing. That's awesome. And that you're looking for these kind of workouts that's going to help you to do so. I actually have some as content already on my platform, on my Instagram handle, on my YouTube channel. Are you interested in watching and seeing if it's something that you can follow along with or something that you can do? Right. So now this gives me insight into if I can actually help these kind of people, because this is the kind of workouts that I'm able to provide. And they also get to make a decision and say, okay, it looks like she knows what she's doing, or this looks like the type of exercises that I can do, or this is the kind of content, or maybe I have more questions. I still want to reach out. And it doesn't feel pressure that you have to come out of pocket right away. This is great. We don't want our potential leads who might be willing to pay us further than just their attention, but to pay us with trust and ultimately with our final step. This gives them the option to usher them towards make taking action. Okay, we remove the pressure. We take down that barrier from them to say yes or no right this moment and to try something different, but that's still within our vicinity. Okay. Why this is also a really good idea? Because this allows for the people who are ready to pay just because you already got their attention and because from the dialogue and conversation organically that you're having with them, that you're building trust in that moment, that they're emotionally moved yet again to take action, right? Remember, it's about being emotionally moved. And the one emotion that we want to avoid is pressure. We do not want our leads to feel pressure. We get further away from conversion if they feel pressure. We need them to say yes and to start to think about how the method of payment or to ask, how can I pay? Because they're ready, right? So, first, our leads, they pay us with attention through the content. And when they watch the content, we automatically gain trust. So now this is not something that we have to do one to one. Why is this important? Because our values are as well is our attention and our time, right? So if you're spending an hour in a conversation speaking with someone only to find out it's not the right fit, I mean, we're going to have to do that sometimes and that's going to happen. But we want to minimize the amount of time that we have to do that because your content is going to handle that. And your content over time is going to nurture that cold lead, that person that might feel pressured about money and time constraints, that person that might feel pressured because we didn't gain their trust right off of the bat from that one to one. We're going to actually help that cold lead become a warm lead because they can dive into something at the most amazing price ever for free. And not all content is free. If you have other pieces of valuable content, which I also highly recommend, right? Which is like a book. We talked about an ebook earlier. We talked about it last week and the week before. A book, write a book. That's content as well, right? So I can have, and I have free content that you can watch about workouts, but then I also have an ebook that you can purchase and it's a low ticket cost, right? So maybe a book fits the person, or maybe that continues to nurture the trust from cold to warm and then warm to hot, hot being that they're ready to pay and make a bigger purchase with you, right? So you have multiple offers for that person, but it's all about the gateway. It's all about the gateway. I hope that's making sense. Because up next takes us into our final step, step three. We want to get people to pay with their money. So we get their attention, we gain their trust, and simply put, we make an offer. Okay. Now, this works incredibly well. That so much so that even if you don't have an offer right now, you will have the idea to create one simply because you went through this process. I'll give you an example. Today, I taught dance. During my dance class, this is one of the days that I did not wear one of my own shirts. Okay. So I create shirts and people buy them, right? And they wear them to the dance class. And this is the one time that I wore a shirt that some people were interested in that I did not create. Okay. So because I saw the interest in the shirt, what I really saw was that they were already paying me with their attention. Okay. I've even had a couple people come up and ask me about the shirt and ask me if I created it. Why? Because first of all, they know that I already create shirts, right? Like shirts is a part of my merchandise in my shop. They're aware of that. And even for those who aren't, who just complimented, said nice shirt, they're already paying me with their attention. They already are attending my dance class. They're trusting me with the dance, at least, right? They're trusting me to give them instructions to move their body. So they're already open to the idea of giving me their trust to purchase something from me, something else, something more. Could see that, right? They're already paying the gym membership now. But now they're interested in a shirt, which they don't need, but they're emotionally moved because they're paying attention, because they're in class doing something good for themselves already, because they are satisfied with the instructor of who's teaching the class, and they see something they like. And so, with these leads who joined me and asked, "Hey, is that your shirt? And can we purchase it?" My answer was no. It had to be no, that it wasn't my shirt. But here's what I realized in a moment: I already create shirts. I could just make one that's similar, right? And that's fine. We have similar products and services anyway. We're not reinventing the wheel. Even as a content creator, while we're having this conversation around content, content creators are already using this framework. This is not a new framework. This is not just my framework. It's just one that works, right? So we don't need to reinvent the wheel. We pay attention to people's interests or their problems. We talk about it and share the knowledge with them. Or at minimum, you're sharing the emotion. You're going to share the excitement, or you're going to share the disappointment, right? You want to be able to identify the emotion that is happening there so that you can create the next offer. So instead of just saying, no, this is not my shirt, and leaving it there, my response was, no, but I'm creating one just like it because I like it just as much too. That's why I'm wearing it. So I had one person that said, oh, good, I want two in medium. The shirt's not created yet. Like, I want you to understand that the shirt is not even created yet. And I have a pre-order for two medium of the t-shirts that I'm going to create. They don't even know what it looks like, but I got their attention. And I had so much of their trust that they're ready to purchase it before they even know what it looks like. Okay? They're ready to pay with their money. Had I came in with some shirts today that looked like similar to the one I was wearing, or that was as cool as the one that I was wearing, I would have walked out with some additional cash, all right? That's how it works. But I want you to understand that that wouldn't have happened without these two steps, right? So I could love the t-shirt myself and never wear it to class. Like, it's not even one of my shirts, but I wear my shirts very frequently because I'm advertising. I'm my own walk-in advertiser. I got to market my own products, right? So I wear my shirts very frequently. However, I still wear other t-shirts, or I try to test the water sometimes with different products, right? I want people to give me their attention and to ask questions because it only takes one. The one person that does, I can now tailor a particular order to that person, or if many people like it, I can create many products just like it and sell to many. A one to many approach. I wore a shirt that I liked in front of a large group of people, between 50 to 60, and already converted at least 10% of that in just interest. That's not even to mention the other people who might not have been as extroverted or open or willing to come up in that moment and show interest, right? But I know one thing: when I have product on hand, dollars out in the hands, y'all. Like, people take cash out of their pocket. Like, you don't even have to give me your email or your phone number so I can Zelle you. I have cash. Can I pay you in cash? Oh my gosh, I love when people ask. When my customers now, right? I'm about to convert into a customer. I love when they ask, "Can I pay you in cash?" I just love, not that I love the fact that they're about to pay me. I love that they can't wait. I love the eagerness. I love the desire. I love the resonance that just happened because I took the time to think about how this can work for someone else and to listen, because these things that they're doing, I'm doing too. I'm also paying attention. I'm also trusting the process that when I create something, that there's an audience that it resonates with, and that it may not resonate with a particular part of the audience too. And that's okay, because I only want to work with my dream clients. I don't want to work with is I don't care to sell to people or convince people who don't want it. I just want to get to my audience, the people who already do, but they don't know that they want the products and the services that I have until I offer it, until I show it to some sort of capacity that I'm able to get their attention, that I'm able to gain their trust. And therefore, I'm able to help them make a decision on how they want to pay me. These 3 steps is how to get people to pay you. It's so much harder when you start with step 3, and there's so much pressure if you start with step 2 still. Like it's a little less than the "hey, I have this, can you buy it now" process. Like it's a little less pressure than just asking straight up if somebody will buy something from you, because this is too important. Like trust is so valuable to us all, especially in a transaction where I'm giving you an exchange of my money for your solution. Okay, you still need the trust. And at minimum, I mean, if you don't have their attention, there's nothing happening anyway. So you have to start with attention. So all in all, step 1 is actually to begin to create content. You got to create content. So Deborah, I think some great form of content for you would be writing. I mean, you just are rich, not just with knowledge, but with stories. And people love stories, right? Storytelling is a part of content. Storytelling is a part of trust. And when you start with a story, you immediately get people's attention, right? That's why Once Upon a Time is such a famous intro into storytelling, because people automatically give you their attention because they understand that those words mean I'm about to tell you a story. And the story, once it should be relevant, right, to your ultimate product or service. Again, so for me, for fitness, it might be workouts today. Tomorrow, we might talk about nutrition. Tomorrow, we might talk about self care. The next day, we might talk about mental health, right? The next day, we'll talk about having a fitness coach or a mentor, right? There's steps and there's levels. There's different kinds of conversations to have about the product or the service. So I can have a conversation about nutrition and still make an offer for a workout plan. But now this person knows, like, oh, they can talk about nutrition as well, right? Not a nutritionist, by the way, not a certified nutritionist. However, we can have conversation around moderation. That is a part of nutrition. Moderation is well a part of that. I am writing a book as we speak. Thank you for the confirmation. Let's go. So proud of you, Deborah. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Writing a book. Woo! That turnover for that core offer is going to be amazing, because you get to do that thing one time. Writing a book is a one to many approach. Okay. So that's the last part that we had, right? To wrap up, is our approach. So We have our one-to-one approach. We have our one-to-many approach. Which approach do we use? Okay. The answer is that is up to you. You know your business the best. And not only do you know your business the best, you know the capacity of your business and where it is right now. Now, just because you choose one approach now doesn't mean that you can't implement the other later or that you can't receive help on how to do the other. Like, you're going to need both, to be honest, at some point. You're going to need a one-to-one approach and a one-to-many approach. So that is my recommendation, is that you actually have both. And that's why we're having this conversation about content, because content, which is a part of our framework anyway, our Dream Small Business Framework offers, leads, content, and then systems. Having regular content is a one-to-many approach. So you can talk to your family members about your book or your friends about your book as a one-to-one approach. And then you can ask them for referrals or even to share your story, right? And you can ask them to say, hey, do you think someone else will also be interested in a book like this, right? So that's still a one-to-one approach, and it's slower. We cannot depend on our family and friends to constantly be reoccurring buyers if it's something that doesn't resonate with them. Sometimes you will find a family member or friend that it does resonate with, and you don't have to ask them. They're asking you when the next one is. I have that. I'm very fortunate. Okay. My sister loves my stuff, and it's great because then she also just gets to support me on this journey. But it actually resonates with her. So I don't have to ask her. I just got to let her know, like, hey, there's something new out. And she's like, I love it. I just bought one. And I'm like, beautiful. But it's still a one-to-one approach. So that's still one sale. We want to also consider a one-to-many approach through content. If you have 70 people that views your content, you might convert 7 people into a discovery call. You might convert several people into looking at more pieces of your content. You might convert somebody into an offer, right? So that's another thing that I want to add and leave with you, is to ensure that you have a gateway. Actually, I don't know if you can see that. Let's do it in black because it's small. All right, so your gateways. Gonna put it up here. Your gateways can lead back to what's called a landing page. So people watch your content, you write in the description box exactly what it is that you have to offer them, and they click on it. Let's say they click on a thing and it takes them to a landing page. That's where all your products and services are. That's cool, right? Maybe there's some more free things there, or maybe there's some paid things there. After your landing page, though, maybe you have what I just mentioned a second ago, which is a discovery call. So that's where you hop on the phone with someone for 30 minutes to see how you can collaborate, to see how you can help them, to see that if you have a product or a service to offer them that will be a payoff or a transformation to them in their business. Okay. Now, some people are like, well, I'd rather have a landing page and not do discovery calls because you want to protect your time. That's fine. Some people rather have discovery calls and not do landing pages because they don't get to actually connect with their customers or their consumers, or even understand why they're buying or not buying. So discovery calls are also important. I'm going to recommend that you have both. I have both. Okay, so you can connect with me and we can work together one-on-one after we do a discovery call, right? We discover whether I can actually help you with a thing. You say, yes, I make an offer for the product or the service that helps you with that thing. And you say, yes. And now we've made an exchange, right? But then I also have a landing page, like my stand store. So you can go and see all of the myriad of offers that I have, not just in small business training, but also in my fitness business too. So you can see all of the things that I do. And that way you can make multiple decisions. So you'll take all of the free stuff and then you know what too. I actually want one of these and two of these. And so people could just make their purchase on their own, which has been very successful for me too. I don't need to get on a discovery call to talk with someone about Myron Golden's Boss Moves books that I'm an affiliate with, right? So I'm an affiliate for Myron Golden's Boss Moves books. It's an absolutely amazing strategy book, especially for my small business owners that's in the early growth stages of their business or even aspiring entrepreneurs. You need to read this book because it has the exact framework, not just to help your business generate income and scale, but to do it fast because we are in a time where making money is easy. And the only way it's not easy is if you're not doing something different yet. Okay. Content is a part of it. Content leads to the landing page. Content leads to the discovery call. It's one to many approach that gets people to pay attention, to give you their trust, and to ultimately give you their money. And with that being said, folks, that's all I got for you today. I'm going to send you a photo of my tiny whiteboard so that you have all of the notes that you need from today. And that's, of course, any one of you who are already subscribed to my emailing list. If you would like to jump on my email list and you're watching this on YouTube, you're going to hit the description link down in the box below. Okay, so that way you can hop on the emailing list and I can give you a copy of this as well, just in case you didn't take notes. You cannot miss the 2 steps that comes before the final offer. You have to do the other 2 things. So if you need help in either launching your content or revising what you already have in your page to ensure that it's connecting back to your audience, well, let's set up a discovery call. You can hit that link as well inside of the description box if you're streaming this on YouTube. And again, if I'm in your email box, of course, Deborah, you're going to have that offer there so that we can meet one-on-one. Otherwise, be sure to also follow me on my YouTube page. On my YouTube page, let me actually grab the link for you too. On my YouTube page, I constantly post all kinds of content in relation to business, right? So you don't have to wait all the way till next Saturday till we speak again. We can actually have more conversations throughout the week because we have to post content, right? You need help launching and starting your own content. I want you to make sure that you are taking me up on my offer for the discovery call to see how I can be of service to you, because that is my life's work. That's what I'm spending my time doing. Here we go. And then let me just drop this link for you real quick. Boom. Otherwise, you're also going to see that in your inbox too. That's for my StreamYard folks. And then, oh yeah, if you want to join me on StreamYard so that you can actually drop some comments and drop some questions, you want to make sure that you're registering for StreamYard. Of course, you can watch it on YouTube, but the only thing is that you don't get to participate in this kind of way. You can also be invited into the guest studio. If you like to use StreamYard for your own events and webinars, I'd love to show you how. Again, there will be a link to a discount code if you sign up for StreamYard and you begin using it with our affiliate link. That's how it works. All right, folks. So I'm so proud of myself. Look at me. I be trying to do this in an hour, y'all. I'm so happy. Great. What's up, Zuri? Appreciate you. I'm so glad to see you, my niecey poo. Thank you. Appreciate y'all. And I'll see you next time.